Right, good afternoon to you everybody. My name's Mark. I'm based in Kent, over in London, in the United Kingdom. Welcome back to my channel. If you're watching, hopefully some of you are. I'm going to be talking to you today about the another development board which I purchased, believe it or not, over 10 years ago, because the setup was so involved and I didn't know an awful lot about microcontrollers then. I'd only just started with things like PIC Micro, a very basic PIC Micro, using compilers supplied by third parties. But I could never get to grips with this. But anyhow, yesterday I actually pulled this out and I thought, you know what, I've got to have a go at this. I've got to find out how to use this because it's just a waste. This was originally purchased from RS Components. It's made by Texas Instruments and it is the MSP432P401R development board. Now they do a model up from this. This is now discontinued, but for those of you who do have one, I've noticed that there's not a great deal of instructional tutorials on this. So again, today what I thought I'd do is I put together some basic information for you to get you started. I've actually written some scripts, some very comprehensive scripts. Also provided notes on how to use this device to at least get started. So without any further ado, let's get into what this board does. Okay. Right, so looking at the board, we've got two microprocessors, and you'll see that we've got the MSP432 processor over here, obviously with all the port pins. In fact, there's a lot more port pins. If you look down the side, you'll see that this gives you access to every single pin on that chip. Right, and then you've also got another processor here. So it has two processors on board. One of them is the MSP432, that's the actual device that you'll be uploading code to. And the second is the TM4C129, which is what they call a debug probe. Now, Texas Instruments have been quite clever with this. What they've actually done is, instead of you having to go out, I mean, in the case of, let's say, we were programming PIC Micros, you'd have to go and buy yourself a PIC Kit 3, PIC Kit 4, and I believe it's now up to PIC Kit 5. Whereas Texas Instruments decided they'd bring out what they call the TM4C129, which is an XDS110ET programming interface. Alright, so this is what this particular chip does, and it's also got a breakout block here, so you can disconnect this board completely from that device there, and by doing so you can then use just this part of the board here to program other Texas Instrument microcontrollers, which is quite clever. So from that point of view, it's actually quite well designed. It's got two switches. It's got a reset switch down the bottom, a main reset switch. It's also got an SW1, SW2 switch, and it has four LEDs on board. One of them is a multicolour LED, which is red, green and blue, and the other one is, I believe, just a red LED. I'll go into that a little bit later for you, but for the time being, let's find out what the MSP432P401R is exactly. So that's the target MCU. Right? The target MCU is what you load your code to. It's an ARM Cortex M4F running at 48 MHz with 256k kilobytes flash and 64 kilobytes RAM. The TMC49 serves as a programming interface. Alright. It also provides you with debugging support, so it allows you to set breakpoints in your Code Studio, which is the IDE that you will use for programming this device, and it has what they call a backchannel UART, so it provides USB to serial communication, so you can first of all communicate with this device, and secondly, so you can communicate with a terminal on your PC or other device. So that's the rundown of that. Let's just go a little bit further into it for you. Okay, now this device here also provides what they call energy trace technology. So it measures the power consumption of your MSP432 application in real time. And as I said before, it has an isolation block. This is the isolation block here. So that allows you to connect or disconnect signals between the XDS110ET domain and the MSP432P401R target domain. So you can refer to these as domain. That's the target domain, and that is the debugging domain. Right, so there's some more terms for you to get used to before we go dive into this a bit further, because understanding this is quite something else. It's not an easy board to start with. I don't recommend you try and start with this. I recommend that you actually opt for something like perhaps the pickaxe at a very basic level, progress to something like Pic Micro, then move on to Arduino and then Atmel devices, and then finally you will be at the stage where you will be able to write applications or what they term bare metal applications, and that's means quite a lot of money when it comes to careers, especially when you're talking motor control, PWM and many other topics, and at the same time it will also teach you how to read circuit diagrams, which I will go into later on this board as well, because that is going to be a requirement. You'll also need to have a full understanding of C, C++, not to mention HTML, CSS, Python, and just a few other technologies. That's database technology, JSON files as well, also PHP and MySQL. But again, this is a process that you won't learn just overnight. That's why it's been sitting there for 10 years. It's taken me at least 10 years to reach that sort of level, and that's on a self-taught basis, bearing in mind that I've always been an engineer all my life. I don't find it easy, and it sure as hell is not easy. It's not as easy as people make out at all, so please bear with me. I'm also new to this, and if I do make mistakes, well, I apologise. I'm doing my level best, and hopefully you will recognise that, and if so, by all means point that out, but be constructive about it if you're going to do so and come up with recommendations. Right, so let's stop there for a minute and let you go away and digest some of that so far, because the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is why we actually term this a ARM Cortex processor, and I'm going to explain what that all means to you in a few moments. Okay, so what is ARM Cortex and what is the M4F and what does it mean? Well, ARM Cortex M4F is a type of CPU core used inside many microcontrollers, example the MSP432, the STM32F4, the TT range, and many other types of microcontroller. So let's break that down for you and explain to you what exactly that means. The Cortex M is ARM's family designed for microcontrollers. They are, in our terms, low power, real-time, deterministic types of processor that are used in embedded systems. The Cortex M4 is a mid-range performance core, so it includes a 32-bit ARM processor. It has DSP instructions. DSP stands for Digital Signaling Processing Enhancements. It uses single cycle MAC or multiply accumulate technology, and it's ideally optimized for control systems, audio processing, motor control, IoT, etc. Okay, its typical clock speed is around about 48 MHz to 180 plus megahertz, depending on the chip. So it's very good for things or applications such as digital filters, that's 2IR and FIR, motor control, FOC and PID, and FFT, audio processing, as fast Fourier transformations. Right? The F in the M4, F, means that it has a floating point CPU embedded within, and that's a hardware block for fast floating point math. Now, I don't know how many of you have done any research into IEEE 754 standards, but IEEE 754 covers single precision 32-bit floats. And if you remember the early days of the earlier mobile phones, they didn't have floating point numbers, so you had to do that all in software, which is quite a task. You had to go through the mantissa, you had to go through the exponent, and if you know anything about floating point numbers or double precision numbers, you will probably have read up a little bit about that, especially if you're dealing with digital technology, and that's quite a topic on its own. Just writing out an application to read a normally based integer or a decimal can comprise some 600, 700 lines of code just on its own, and that's just to deal with that. So if you can see why this matters, well, first of all, floating point math is slow and usually done in software, or was done in software, I beg your pardon, until obviously Texas Instruments produced this device. With a hardware block that deals with floating point numbers, it makes the maths calculations so much faster. So it's extremely useful for sensor fusion, robotics, control loops, digital sound processing, and machine learning on microcontrollers. That's quite an ideal starting point with 32-bit processors anyway. Right, so what does this do? Well, the XDS 110, which is the debugging device, handles all of this, and it obviously, when I say it handles all of this, it's able to transfer that information over to this processor, so that can deal with floating point numbers, and it will deal with energy trace, so it can check how much current that is drawing on what its real-time application savings are on energy. So when it comes to things like solar power, and you want to perhaps develop a solar bolt, which is fast on the horizon, that's going to be next, because obviously what we're talking about now is an age where we want to save as much on electricity as we possibly can, and so this device here is going to be ideal for solar bots and solar powered applications. So leave it there for you for a minute, and we'll dive into it a little bit further.